How y'all doing today? My name's Rob. I'm from Upworm Hardware. I am here today in our Cadiz location with Angel, our on-site deck stain expert. Today we're going to be talking about several different varieties of deck stains, but we are going to be centering in on the Defy product. The Defy product is new to our hardware company, and we're very proud to have partnered up with Defy deck stains. It is a water-based deck stain. And we will be centering in on that product specifically for the purposes of this video, although we are going to cover some basic do's and don'ts on how to prep your deck and how to stain your deck. And Angel's going to be giving us all that information because she is the expert. So just a little bit about Defy. Defy is a company based out of Richmond, Indiana. They are very local to our area. It is a water-based stain, and if anybody out there actually listens to Gary Sullivan, when Gary Sullivan's talking deck stains, he talks Defy. That is the primary product that he wants to promote on his show. So when you get into some deck stains, three of the main types of deck stains that you want to talk about are essentially going to be semi-transparent, solid color deck stains, and elastomeric deck stains. When you're talking about your basic semi-transparent deck stains, you are talking about oil-based versus water-based, and we're going to talk a little bit about the differences between oil-based and water-based. Angel's going to give us some good info on that. I know I'm talking a whole bunch right now, but Angel's going to take over here in a minute. I'm just giving the rundown on some stuff. So when you're talking about semi-transparent stains are the stains that you want to use when you want to see the grain of your wood. When you want to be able to see how good looking that deck is and how good the wood is that you used. When you are talking about semi-transparent stains, when you get into the clear semi-transparent stains, you need to make sure you're very careful which semi-transparent clears that you're using. Some products out there, in fact the majority of the products out there, when you are using a clear stain, it's in fact not 100% crystal clear. The Defy clear transparent stain is 100% clear. You don't have to do anything to it. A lot of the other products, as we talked the other day, and Angel, is that you do have to add things to them to actually clear it. When you get into your solid color stains, the solid color stains are essentially paint for your deck. They put a coating on your deck that more removes the grain of the wood. You can still see the lines of the wood, but the grain isn't there so much anymore. And as far as your elastomeric coatings are concerned, the elastomeric is essentially a last resort for your deck. When your deck is just completely no longer holding any stain or anything at all, it's coming apart, elastomeric essentially creates a plastic coating around that piece of wood so that it can be salvaged for a little while longer. So Angel here is going to give us some understanding as to what the differences are between the oil-based and water-based stains. There's a significant difference between those two based on prep work and what kind of windows you have to have. Angel, if we're using a water-based stain, when can you use that?
Right after a morning rain.
After a morning rain.
Yes.
So it can literally rain this morning and
Visibly dry.
Visibly dry? That's fantastic. What about oil-based?
You have to wait a 3-day window, no rain.
No rain for 3 days.
Right.
That's a huge benefit to putting down a water-based, because let's say most people believe that staining in the summertime, in the heat of the summer, the reason that happens that way is because they need to make sure they're catching that 3-day window. If you're using a water-based product, you can literally work on your deck in the springtime when there's lots of spring rain going on, right?
Yes.
Again, when you're showing the difference between oil-based and water-based stains, one of the big problems with the oil-based stains is, can you put maintenance coats, Angel?
No, it has to be stripped every time.
Oil-based has to be stripped every time before you put a new maintenance coat. What about water-based?
You just clean it up with Dawn dish soap and put another maintenance coat on.
Dawn dish soap?
Dawn.
Did you get paid by Dawn to say that?
Yeah.
Okay. So absolutely, she's 100% correct. All you have to do is wash your deck down. You can do it up to 5 times with maintenance coats before you have to take that water-based product all the way down. Okay, so one of the other big differences, Angel, is the drying time. What can you tell us about the drying time differences between the two products?
Oil-based takes a long time to dry, and water-based you put on the next morning, or your furniture.
So literally, you get done staining your deck in the evening and you put furniture on the next morning with a water base.
Yes.
Okay. Oil-based and elastomeric stains, just for your information, if you actually look at the instructions on the back of those cans, The majority of the elastomeric or oil-based stains will not guarantee the product unless you cover all 4 sides of the board. Now, I'm not sure how many of you out there have actually stained a deck before, but getting the underside and the sides of your boards are extremely difficult most times, sometimes completely impossible. So that's kind of an out that a lot of companies have out there to keep from having to guarantee their products. What about prep work, Angel? What can you tell us about prep work?
It needs to be done on all decks. Every step left out takes out the longevity.
Okay, so everything needs to be prepped, even if it's water-based, even if you're doing a maintenance coat, we still have to worry about prep, right? Okay. Starting into the next topic, we are going to talk about sanding your deck. Most of our locations are rental locations, and we have a lot of people come in and they will ask us for a sander for their deck to rent. You should never sand your deck. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out there. Sanding your deck damages your wood. It doesn't actually clean your wood. It just takes the stains down a little bit, and it actually, again, it just damages your wood. You should never do that. The prep work as far as cleaning and brightening and or stripping your wood down is the best course of action, and Angel is going to give us some great tips on how to go about doing that so that your deck lasts as long as it can. First and foremost, if you are doing your deck in the hot time of the year, if you walk on your deck and you cannot walk on that deck barefooted, it is too hot to stain your deck. You can actually be detrimental to your stains based on a deck being too hot. So make sure that you have a good day. Maybe it's a little bit overcast, but you're not expecting any rain. Those are your best days to probably stain that deck. Another big point: more coats is not better. 2 coats are the max you want to put on there, specifically speaking with water base. When you're applying an oil-based stain, it's not necessary to put 2 coats. You just really want to put 1, because essentially once that oil base starts to stick and you put another coat on top of it, you're basically putting a coat on top of a coat. It's not protecting it. That first coat's automatically repelling that. And when we get into the Defy water-based product, Angel's going to let us know when the appropriate time to put that second coat on is going to be, so that you're not wasting Defy product as well. So from beginning to end, basically every stain that you choose to put on your deck has an application date and a failure date. Every stain, no matter what. What you're trying to do by doing the steps that Angel's going to talk to you about here momentarily is to get those 2 dates as far apart from each other as possible. Prep work is extremely important. You can't just go out there and throw stain on your deck. You've got to do some cleaning on your deck. We are going to touch on new treated lumber decks before we get into Angel's steps for cleaning your decks. When you have a deck that you've got new lumber on that's newly treated, you need to give that deck 2 full seasons of under sun and weather before you can start staining that deck. You do not want to stain a deck because the chemicals that are in there for the treated have to be pulled back out of that. When you do go to stain your deck that has been put up with new treated wood, you still need to clean the deck. 2 seasons is a long time, and the way the experts explained it to us the other day was, if you lay a white linen out for 2 seasons, what's that white linen going to look like? Same thing's happening with your deck. You've got to clean your deck. Okay, so as we get into the prep work and the actual staining of your deck, now that we're done listening to Rob spill his mouth all over the place, Angel, what are the 5 things that everyone should have on hand when they're going to clean and stain their deck to make their jobs easier?
You need a 5-gallon bucket.
5-gallon bucket.
You need the pump sprayer.
We have a pump sprayer. Does it have to be an expensive pump sprayer?
Nope.
What's the pump sprayer for?
To put the stuff in.
To put the stuff
cleaner.
in. The cleaner. Absolutely right.
Yes.
What else do we need?
Power washer.
Power washer. I don't have one here. Where can I get one?
And arms.
Orms?
Yes.
So, if you're going to stain and clean your deck, it's highly recommended you have a pressure washer. If you don't have access to one, 6 out of our 7 locations do rent pressure washers, and the 7th one will sell you one if you really want to buy one. Okay, what else do we need?
Soft, long-handled brush.
A soft, long-handled brush, like this one right here, exactly?
Well, a little softer, but yes.
A little softer. So this is the example we have. What we're looking for in your brush is something more appropriate for your car. A car wash brush, a nice soft bristle brush is appropriate for that. Yes, ma'am. What else do we need?
A strainer.
That was 5 and that was 4. So what's the strainer for? Tell us about why you have a strainer. What would we need that for?
Because there's still going to be sediment in the cleaner. So you have to drain that into the pump sprayer so you don't destroy your sprayer.
So when we're mixing product, we need to make sure we get any granules, especially
Yes.
the powdered cleaner. Awesome. So those are the 5 things. Folks, if you don't have that stuff at home, when you come in to pick up your deck stain, we will have all that product for you. You can use all of it to make your job a little bit easier. So now that we talked about what they need, what 3 steps are we really trying to do when we're going to stain a deck?
Clean, brighten, and stain it.
Clean, brightening, and staining. So brightening seems a little bit weird to me, but we'll talk about the brightening once we get past the cleaning, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, Angel, this is the chemical that you decided to recommend to us. What can you tell us about this cleaner? If I've got plants and whatnot underneath my deck, do I have to worry about this?
No, it's safe.
It's environmentally safe for vegetation and whatnot?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, it seems like it's a powder. So how do we go about getting this powder onto our deck?
You get a 5-gallon bucket and you dissolve it in there with warm water. But you put the warm water first and then put that in it.
Why?
Because it'll foam.
Thank you. It will foam. Make sure that you put your water in the bucket first. When any of these chemicals or any of these cleaning products that you're going to be using, make sure that your water is in the bucket first, then you're adding the cleaning or stripping, then you're adding the cleaning or the brightening product to the warm water. Okay, so we've just mixed our chemical. What happens next?
You let it dissolve and then you strain it into your pump sprayer.
Strain it into the pump sprayer with one of those strainers, so that's why we needed the strainer.
Yeah.
And you will have your chemical dissolved in here, you'll strain it directly into your sprayer, and then what do?
You spray it on the deck.
Spray it directly on the deck?
Well, you have to wet your deck down. Then you spray it on.
Wet the deck down
Yes.
first and then spray the chemical out, okay?
Yes.
How long do we leave it on there?
15 to 20 minutes.
15 to 20 minutes.
Yes.
And do we just hose it off, or how do we get it off?
Power wash it off.
Power wash it off. There's the power washing we were talking about earlier. So Angel, you gave us some pretty good tips on how to clean that deck down. What about problematic decks? What about decks that have some pretty tough to get off solid color stains or some real difficult oil-based stains? How do we get that off?
Use a Defy stripper.
The Defy stripper, which is this stuff right here. So this Defy stripper, is it safe? You know, is this something we need to worry about putting in our vegetation or near our vegetation?
It will kill vegetation.
It will kill vegetation. Is this a concentrate or is this something that we dilute?
You do not dilute it.
We don't dilute this. This is directly onto the wood.
Put it right on in the sprayer and spray it right on.
So this is a sprayable product as
Yes.
well. So we're leaving it on for 15 to 20 minutes. Is it just, do we make sure it stays wet? Is the sun supposed to soak that in, or how does
No,
that work?
it has to stay wet.
It's got to stay wet. And how do we take it off when we're ready to take
Power
it off?
wash.
Again, with the power washer. Okay, you're really selling hard on the power washers, aren't you?
I know.
Now that we have our deck either cleaned or stripped down, now we're going to get into another phase. Now, I know that most people believe, Angel, that at this point in time their deck probably looks more beautiful than it has in years, and they think it's time to put that stain directly on there. What step do they need to make sure they do next?
They need the brightener.
They need to brighten it. Why do they need to brighten their wood?
It returns the wood to its original milled color.
The original milled color.
And it opens the pores, allows the deck to actually, or the stain to actually adhere.
Okay, so returning that deck to the original milled color, that wood, the original milled color, why is that so important right now?
So it matches the same color on the label.
Absolutely. So when you walk into a store and you're looking at these color swatches for your deck stains, and you believe that product is going to look exactly the way it does in the store, if you don't return that deck to the milled color, I know at this point you believe that it does. You're looking at it, you're like, this never looked that good, and since I can remember it. It looks like it's brand new. It's not. Bringing that to the brightened color, to the original deck stain color, is extremely important to make sure that these stains look like you believe they're going to. So Angel, now that we've got our wood brightener, which is this product right here,
Yes.
how do we apply this? Does this go on directly just like the
No.
stain, the stripper did?
4 gallons of water and then put that in, so it makes a total of 5.
4 gallons of water. Is that
Put it-
warm water?
Yes.
Okay, so 4 gallons in this bucket with this 1 gallon makes us our 5 gallons. How do we apply this?
With the paint sprayer, or the sprayer.
So we do apply this with the sprayer, the same sprayer that we've been working with this whole time. How long do we leave this on the deck?
5 to 10 minutes.
And then how do we get it off? We gotta bring that pressure washer out again?
No, you can use a garden hose with this.
A garden hose will take it right off.
Yes.
Awesome. So those are the first 2 steps that you really need to worry about. When we talked about a 3-step process, don't shortcut yourself. Every one of these steps that you shortcut yourself, remember that time that we talked about between the application and the failure date? Every step that you skip is going to take those closer together to where you're not going to be getting the longevity out of your deck that you need, and your maintenance coats aren't going to work as well as they should. You've got to make sure you do those first 2 steps. Don't skip the brightener, folks. I'm telling you, I've watched it. Don't skip the brightener. So now that that's all been taken care of, we're ready to stain, right?
Yes.
So I'm gonna get my roller out and I'm gonna get a big pan. We're just gonna grab a roller and start rolling that stain on the deck, right?
You're gonna use a soft brush.
We're gonna use a soft brush on the vertical stuff first?
Yes.
Okay, would you like to tell us why we have to do the vertical stuff first?
Because if it drops down, it will show that little spot if it falls.
Absolutely correct. Water-based deck stains, specifically Defy, will show overlaps in your stains. When you're doing your verticals, make sure that you've got cardboard underneath of your rails and your lattice work so that any drippage goes on that cardboard. When you're done, you will see drip spots underneath of that vertical stuff. So you've got to make sure you do your verticals first, make sure you've got cardboard on underneath of them, and go to town with a soft brush. So we're ready to do the floor now, right?
Yes.
Are you sure? It seems like we've been doing this forever, all day long, and I don't know that we're ready to do that. We're ready to do the floorboards, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, are we rolling that on, or what are we doing?
We're using a brush.
That soft bristle brush, the car wash brush. Again, this is not the one necessarily that we're looking for. This would suffice, but you really want something that's going to soak up more of that stain. So do we do the whole deck at once? I mean,
No.
what do we do?
4 to 6 boards at a time.
4 to 6 boards at a time. Why?
Because you cannot let it dry. You have to do the second coat within 15 to 20 minutes before it dries.
Second coat within 15 to 20 minutes. If you let the Defy deck stain dry and you attempt to put on another coat, you're basically, that first coat is not going to allow that to happen because it's already doing its job. Once it's dried, it's doing its job. Water base is very quick as far as it starts working. You've got to make sure that you put that on. So as far as being dry or being wet, I mean, is there anything that you can tell us as a good guide? I mean, is it visibly wet, visibly dry? I mean, how do we know when we're supposed to be putting that second coat on for sure?
You have to go right back over it.
Right back over it. 4 to 6 boards. What about overlap?
It will show.
Overlap will definitely show. So don't do your 4 boards in half and do your on the other half. You need to do 1 board at a time, right? Do the full length of the board. Make sure you're doing your 4 to 6, putting them all down. If you've got your overlap, or if you overlap your layers or coats, you're going to see that. Okay, so we've just covered doing our decks and making sure that we've got our stain down. We're going to dive into the maintenance coats at this point with Angel. But before we get to that point, we are going to talk a little bit more about the product itself. As I said, we are, as a company, recently partnered up with Defy Deck Stains. I've been working with Defy Deck Stains for quite a long time, and I can promise you that there's no better product out there on the market. And it's a family-owned company. They're a great company to support, and that's why Orm Hardware being a family-owned company as well, we couldn't think of a better company to partner ourselves up with. When you come into your local Orm Hardware and you're looking for your Defy stains and you're just not quite sure what that stain is going to look like on your deck, every store has these. These are small little stain packets. These will do a very small area of your deck so you can get a very good idea of what that stain is going to look like on your wood. There's no way for anyone that works in these hardware stores to tell you specifically what's going to happen with your wood because we're not looking at your wood. Every wood ages differently. Every wood has different shades of sun on it. Some have shade. Some have been weather beaten. Some you moved into and you have no idea when the last time that was even applied to that deck. So make sure that you do take advantage of these small sample products to make sure that you know exactly what that's going to look like on your deck. So maintenance coats. Maintenance coats are something that you cannot do with oil-based stains. That's just a fact, right, Angel?
Right.
Why is that?
You have to strip it all back down in order to do another one.
Absolutely right. Oil-based stains completely have to be brought all the way back to the wood, clean, brighten, the whole shebang, and then you can put your oil-based stain back on there. Water-based stains, how many times can we do a maintenance coat on these?
3 to 5.
3 to 5 maintenance coats. And how often do those maintenance coats go on, roughly?
Up to 20 years.
So you can get up to 20 years off of one application by doing your regular maintenance coats.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Oil-based stains cannot say that. How can we be sure that our wood is ready for a maintenance coat?
When it starts soaking in, the water starts soaking into the wood.
When you're doing your maintenance coat, Angel, how many coats should be applied to that for that maintenance coat? Are we talking 2 coats again, like the original application?
You only use 1.
1 coat on the maintenance coat.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Okay, so Angel, let's wrap some things up here. Obviously, we covered a few of the differences between oil-based and water-based stains. Obviously, we're here with Defy as our primary product. Angel, you're the in-house expert here. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. You know what you carry here at Orm Hardware of Cadiz. What do you think is the best deck stain that you have on shelf?
It's going to be Defy.
Why is that?
It's going to be cheaper in the long run because it's going to last up to 20 years.
Right, so how much is that going to be a can?
It's $50 a gallon.
So the Defy product is $50 a gallon. What can you tell us of the difference between that and, let's say, Thompson's, which is a long-term product?
I used Thompson last year. I need to redo it.
Yeah, Thompson's is a dated product.
Yeah.
Thompson's, the original formulas in Thompson's I used when I was a child when my dad had me out there sweating my rear end off. I'm just kidding. I was out there putting the Thompson's on. It's a dated product, and quite honestly, Thompson's is becoming more and more difficult to get a hold of as their product continues to disappear from shelves. Those old school Thompson's users are going to have to evolve themselves. Thompson's is a year-to-year product. Thompson's is supposed to be applied every year. What else can you tell us is a good reason for them to stick with Defy products?
That's the best reason.
In summary, folks, that is our how to stain your deck in a nutshell. If you want to visit www.ormhardware.com, you will find some links to some how-to videos. Aside from this one, you'll also see some footage of Travis and myself, the manager of the Cambridge location, working on his deck. And we will also have a downloadable, printable flip application to where you can take some paperwork out to your deck. So you can actually read step by step through all of that. So if you have any further questions, please stop in here and talk to Angel. She'd be happy to help you. But Angel has, although she is the in-house expert, she's been conveying a lot of this information to the staff, so they should all be able to help you out as well. Angel, is there anybody you'd like to say hi to?
No.
No? Okay. Hi, Mom. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Remember, the Orm Hardware Company is your hardware company. Thank you very much.